tonight. We're so glad to have a full house and so many candidates here to impart their knowledge to us. First thing I'd like to ask you to do is bow your head in prayer and an invocation. Heavenly Father, we give you thanks for these men and women offering themselves as candidates to serve their communities. We ask that you guide them and protect them in their travels. And we would also ask that you bless and protect our military, law enforcement, and EMS personnel that work for next to nothing and with great risk to themselves. We would also ask that you bless our meeting tonight and give us the wisdom to learn what we should about the candidates so that we can make the decisions that we should. In your name we pray. Amen. Amen. All right, if each of you would stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. We have a real flag tonight. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, I guess I should have told you who I am. My name is Mark Post. I'm the chair of the Harris County Republican Party. I would ask that those of you that are guests that have not signed up on our guest list, please do so, because that's how I try to send people emails to invite you to the next meeting. If you have signed up and you think you should be getting emails, let me know. That means either I've typed it in wrong or I can't read it. I do get some that bounce back, so send me an email or let me know in some fashion, because we do want people to come to our meetings and hear our speakers. We meet every third Thursday, the third Thursday of every month. And for members, people like me, I was a member until the 1st of April because I didn't pay my dues. I paid them tonight. We've got a little list over there. So go pay your dues at the end of the meeting if you think about it. And maybe the most important thing I can say tonight is that on April the 30th, early voting starts. So be cognizant of that. Let people know. Let all the good Republicans you know about it. And of course, May 22nd is election day. On May 17th, we will have our next meeting. Senator Josh McCoon, who's running for Secretary of State, will speak. I know we'll have some other speakers as well. But keep in touch with us. Take a look at our Facebook page. That's usually where it gets posted first. We send it into the Harris County Journal too. Sometimes we get it in on time and sometimes we don't. If you're not sure, feel free to give me a call or any of our officers a call and we'll tell you what we know. Let me see. We like to recognize the people, elected officials, and candidates that are here that aren't speaking tonight. I know our County Commission Chair Harry Lang is here. Saw Vance Smith, who's running for state representative. Who am I missing that's not speaking?
Jim Woods.
Oh, there's Jim. He's got his back to me. He's hiding. County Commissioner Jim Woods. He's always here.
Tim Edgar.
Where's Becky? Becky Langston. She's right there in the back. She is speaking tonight, but she is an elected commissioner.
Tim Edgar. I'm running for the school board.
Yes, sir. Good. I appreciate you being here tonight. And who else? It's always dangerous to do this because usually overlook somebody. Is Colin Martin here? Colin's going to talk to us a little bit on the SPLOST tonight briefly. I know he had some other obligations tonight, so I wasn't sure exactly when he's going to walk in the door. So what's going to happen tonight is we've got one candidate for Lieutenant Governor, Senator David Schaefer is here. And I'm going to introduce him in just a minute. And he's going to speak to us first. After that, we've got county commission candidates. And obviously we have 6 candidates in 3 districts. And what we're going to do is we're going to submit written questions after they give a brief opening of 2 to 3 minutes. I'm going to go by district. and then we'll open it up to questions. If you want to submit a written question, please, to the county commission candidates, please designate which district you're talking about. If it's for all of them, say so on your note, and the question will get asked. I'm going to take this paper and put it in the back shortly, so just step back there as you think of the question, and we'll get those questions asked. After the questions are answered by the commission candidates, we'll have time permitting a brief closing and give them 2 to 3 minutes to sum up. But if we get to late, then I'm going to use my discretion and we may cut it off. So I think that pretty well covers, let me check my notes, I always forget something. I think that covers what I need to say, other than to introduce Senator Schaefer. And Senator Schaefer is a good man. He's a graduate from the University of Georgia. That's why I say I know he's a good man, because I'm a dog too, okay? So the senator was executive director of the Georgia Republican Party at 25 years of age. And in the early 90s, he helped guide our party to win a lot of races that, in the statewide, that we have not won since Reconstruction, essentially. He was elected state senator in 2002. He's been President Pro Tem of the Senate since 2013. He's a member of numerous committees in the Senate and vice chair of at least one. And he is married, has a daughter, I believe, and he's from Gwinnett County. Senator Schaefer.
Well, thank you very, very much. It's a privilege to be with you. I worked as executive director of the State Republican Party in the early 1990s. Wayne Harvard, we recruited Vance Smith to run for state representative, and he was the first Republican ever represented from this area. My grandmother, Schaefer, if she were alive today, would be 105 years old. She was born in 1912. And she passed away 10 years ago. She lived a good life, long life of 95 years. And she had 7 children, including my dad, who was her third child, her third son. And in the early 1950s, she lost her husband, the man who was my granddad Schaefer, to a workplace accident that left her the single mother of 7 children. Now, this was a full 20 years before the Great Society and all of the social safety net programs of the 1960s. So she got a widow's benefit from Social Security, but that was basically it. She had to go to work to support her family. She worked as a lunch lady at the local elementary school. She cleaned motel rooms at a nearby motor lodge. And my dad and his brothers all worked. I don't know where it is today, but I remember when I was a kid and I would visit my grandma Schaefer's house, my dad would point to this giant glass jar in the kitchen. And he would tell me that at the end of each week, he and his brothers would have to deposit their earnings from whatever odd jobs they had into that glass jar. And from that glass jar, the common expenses of the family were paid. Neither my dad or any of his brothers went straight to college, with one exception. Most of them joined the military. My dad became a paratrooper because in the late 1950s, paratroopers were paid an extra $75 a month in just that. And that was the money that he sent back to support his mother and his younger brothers and sisters. My dad and his brothers had a range of occupations, everything from a heavy equipment operator to a college professor. No Fortune 500 CEOs, but all productively employed people, with the possible exception of the college professor. The generation that I'm part of, I had 18 cousins. Every one of us finished high school. Every one of us went to college or technical school after. I have not counted my cousins' diplomas, but I think that we all finished. Every one of us is employed, owns our own home, never went to prison, never had any children out of wedlock. All of us have been married once. I think 3 of my cousins have gone through divorces, so a divorce rate of about 15%. You have from this family that was shoved to the margins of society 60 years ago, multiple generations of gainfully employed, law-abiding, home-owning, tax-paying individuals raising children in largely intact families. So I want to ask you a hypothetical question. I want you to imagine for a minute that the Great Society had happened a whole 20 years earlier. And the federal government had been much more compassionate when my granddad Schaefer was killed in that accident. And instead of just sending Grandma Schaefer a widow's benefit from Social Security, they came to the rescue of her and her family by moving them into a public housing project so that they could live for free, and giving them food stamps so that they could eat for free, and aid to families with dependent children, and temporary assistance for needy families, and free cell phones, and all of the things that we do to help people who are struggling today. Would she and her children and the generations that followed, would they have been better off, or would they have been worse off? Now, there's really no way of knowing for sure, but I can tell from your facial expressions and some of y'all's verbal expressions that you have the same suspicion that I have, that they wouldn't have necessarily been better off. I mean, things would have been different. My dad might have had newer clothes when he was a kid instead of hand-me-down. Maybe could have kept his $75 a month in junk pay. I know that my life would have been different. I got my first job when I was 13 years old. My dad got it for me. I was a church janitor. I got paid $10 a week. I did not have to put the money in a glass jar to pay the expenses of the family, but it was critically important to my dad that his son understand two things: that all work is good, and that there's no type of work, not mopping floors or scrubbing toilets, that is beneath anyone. What frustrates me about our country's efforts to help people today is not that they're expensive or that we're borrowing money to pay for them. What bothers me is that I'm not convinced that we're helping the people that we intend to help. In 1950, 25% of the people in this country lived below the poverty level. From 1950 to 1965, that percentage fell from 25 to 15%. During that 15-year period of time, roughly half the people in America who were living below the poverty level worked their way out of poverty. And then what happened in 1965? President Lyndon Johnson declared war on poverty and said that we would spend whatever it takes to drive that 15% down to zero. And in the last 50 years, not counting what we spend on Social Security or Medicare, which are social insurance programs for old people, not counting Medicare or Social Security, we as a country have spent $22 trillion to eliminate poverty in America. And guess what percentage lives below poverty today?
Probably 30, 35.
It's still 15%. It hasn't budged an inch from before that $22 trillion. We've got 180 means-tested programs that I've counted up. 60 of them that deliver benefits directly to people who are struggling, and the other 120 help you figure out which of the 60 you're eligible to apply for. Liberals like to say that Republicans don't appreciate science. But the social scientists have told us something about poverty. They've told us that if you do three things, you have a 98% chance of never being poor. And what those three things are finish high school, work in any job, and don't quit it until you have lined up another. So we're not asking anybody to knock it out of the park here. Finish high school, work any job, and wait to have babies until you're married. If you do those three things, you have a 98% chance of never being poor. But think about the programs that we've put in place. If you have a baby out of wedlock, what do? We pay you money. If you have another baby out of wedlock, what do? We pay you more money. If the mother of the child marries the father, what do? We take the money away. If she works, what do? We take the money away. If she saves money for the benefit of her children, what do? We take the money away. We've designed a system that if you're allowed to be judgmental in 21st century America, rewards all of the wrong kind of behavior and punishes all the right kind of behavior and leads people down a path to intergenerational poverty and dependence on government. I think that's the biggest challenge that is facing America, and it is an easier problem to identify than it is to solve, but it's something that we have got to aggressively confront if we're going to make America great again. I know you've got a host of local candidates that may be of more interest to you than me, but I'm running for lieutenant governor. You'll have three choices in the Republican primary. If you want to vote for the conservative, I would be the one that you would vote for. I've been endorsed by the National Rifle Association. I've been endorsed by Georgia Right to Life, by the Family Policy Alliance, by Ted Cruz, and Newt Gingrich, and nearly more than 200 current and former Republican members of the Georgia General Assembly who've worked with me under the Gold Dome. And I'd love to talk to you more, but I'm getting the eye that suggests that my time is done. If you'd like to learn more about my campaign, there's a notepad that we'll pass around. I'd love for you to give me your name and your email address, and we'll keep in touch with you. But I appreciate so very much the opportunity to talk with you today. Thanks so much.
Senator, I might open the floor to see if there's any questions, since you came so far to see us. Does anybody have questions that you want to ask Senator Schaefer?
Yes, sir.
Sir, do you think that part of it was to get people away from having their churches and communities working together and make them totally reliant on the government as the new God?
Everything the Democratic Party does is to make people dependent on government. They want people dependent on government for their financial security. They want people dependent on government for their personal security. They want people dependent on government for their health care security. And and they are working systematically to create larger and larger groups of people who are dependent on government, because that's how they will win and stay in power. And I believe, I mean, not only is that a strategy we've got to combat as conservatives and Republicans, I think it's bad for the people that they are trying to make dependent on health. Yes, sir.
What do you think the state's position should be regarding protecting the electric grid?
That is I think that is the greatest, are you talking about an electronic pulse attack? Is that
Well, the whole thing, physical attack, EMP, and cybersecurity.
That is, I believe that's our nation's greatest vulnerability. I don't believe that in our lifetimes or our children's lifetimes that we'll ever be invaded by soldiers from another country. But we are so dependent on electronic technology and on the electric grid that if you were to damage us as a country, that's where I believe that you ought to attack. We ought to be much more aggressive in protecting it from any of the kinds of attacks that you just talked about. Thank you so very much for letting me be with you all.
Senator, we appreciate your time. I mentioned Colin Martin earlier. He is here. He's the Chamber President and CEO, Harris County Chamber of Commerce. So I'm just going to ask him to come on up and tell us about the Harris County SPLOST. Of course, Colin's been involved in public politics for many years. So give him a hand if you would.
Chamber presidents don't endorse candidates, but David Schaefer's a really good friend of mine going way, way back, so I'll just leave it with that. First of all, you all know that there's a SPLOST on the ballot. The current SPLOST that we have for Harris County expires April 30th of next year. So this SPLOST will begin May 1st. You are paying 8% sales tax currently. If this passes, you will pay 8% sales tax. So there's no increase in what you're paying. The projects on the list will go toward, first of all, public safety, largely buying vehicles for the sheriff's office, EMS, and they bought a good bunch of volunteer fire department vehicles this time, so I don't know, are those on the list this time, Harry?
No.
Okay.
No, but some equipment will be.
Some equipment will be. That's the single biggest expenditure on this list this time. The second biggest single expenditure is for refinancing the debt on the community center. Right now, that community center debt is coming 100% to be paid out of your property taxes. So, as you know, last year property taxes went up, and there's still some. There'll be obviously pressures to always want to increase that. By moving that off of your property taxes and to sales taxes, you will have that shared with all those visitors who come to Callaway Gardens and everything else, and the folks who travel through here and shop, and non-property owners as well. So it will get it paid off a little more efficiently. Generally speaking, you think, the rule of thumb that I've heard is that 40% of the community's sales tax comes from outsiders. I don't know what ours is in Harris County, but I think it's higher, okay? And then, of course, there'll be roads and bridges are always part of every SPLOST, repaving, paving, and just general repairs of those roads that are under county control, not state control. And then there's also money for economic development and broadband. I got a grant, a request for a grant proposal from the U.S. Department of Agriculture this week. Commissioner Woods brought it to my attention, and then our Congressman's office sent it to me as well. And if we apply for that, there's got to be local matching money. So that SPLOST that money could be used for local matching money. So it covers a lot of needs. The Chamber has endorsed it, so we want to encourage you to vote yes. I don't want to take up too much time because we've got to hear from the county commission candidates, but if there's any questions, I'll be happy to answer them. Thank you all for having me.
We're going to start with District 1 for county commission candidates. I'm going to let Patrick Worley and Andrew Zerner come on up, and I'll let Patrick start off with his opening, and then Andrew can follow. So if you would come on. If you have questions, there are little pieces of paper right back there. Fill them out. If you think of one and you need to stand up, feel free to walk back there and just fill out a little piece of paper. They'll give them to me. Just leave them on the table. And once they get done, we'll start. Now, gentlemen, that lady right there, Donna O'Shea, she has got a time card. I hope you can see it better than I can. But she's going to tell you when you get near your 3 minutes on your opening, okay? So if you would, start us off. I'm going to give them chairs.
Good evening.
Wait 1 second. He's going to give him a chair. I'm going to put another chair here, and I'm going to take these other 2 chairs because we have people standing down here. Now, go ahead.
All right. Hey, I'm Patrick Worley. I'm running for commissioner in District 1. I've lived in Harris County just about my entire life. My wife and I are raising 6 kids here in the county. I'm running for commissioner because I want to be a part of Harris County growing in the right direction. Not only with the housing development, but financially, recreationally, and the possibility of retail and industry. I want to be someone for District 1 that they can call for help. Someone that they can call with a question, and I'll do my best to get them an answer. It may not always be the answer they want to hear, but I will do my best to give them an answer. And if elected, I will always have the best interest of District 1, public safety, the county employees, and all of Harris County will always be a high priority.
I want to thank the Harris County Republican Party for hosting this event tonight, and thank everyone for showing up to listen to us. My name's Andrew Zerner. I'm a Harris County native, born and raised here, been here my entire life, graduated from high school here. After that, I moved up to Marietta and went to college at Southern Polytechnic and State University. Graduated from there, and after being in Atlanta for a few years, realized I was ready to get back to little Harris County. My wife and I, we built a home out in Shiloh. We have 2 young girls who both attend the school systems here in Harris County. My wife is also a Harris County native. She was born and raised here. My wife is also an educator in the Harris County system. I'm a small business owner here out of Harris County. In the past, I've served on the Hamilton Planning and Zoning Committee. Just always enjoyed trying to help serve the public. Right now, there's a lot going on in Harris County, especially involving all of the growth that's going on in our county. And I do believe that you have to have growth in your community to have a successful community. But with that growth, I think we need to guide and control that growth in the right directions. And by doing that, I also think that we can keep the rural integrity that we have in our county. Right now, I want to, if I'm able to make it as a commissioner for District 1, I'd like to have open lines of communication and work with the police department, the fire department, the Board of Education, all the public works. If we work with all those groups together, I feel like the growth that our county's seeing and experiencing right now, if we work together, that growth cannot be detrimental to any one of these groups. And by working together, it's teamwork, and I would like to be part of this teamwork, and I feel like I can be a great asset to Harris County if I'm able to be elected as Commissioner for District 1. Thank you.
I've got at least one question. I hope somebody else will submit a question for these candidates. But this question is there, and it kind of touches a little bit on what you just said, but there's been a lot of discussion about growth in this county, residential and otherwise. Can you tell us what you envision as far as economic growth, as far as business growth, I guess, is what they're talking about? Since you just addressed it, I'll let you go first and you can follow up.
Yeah, as far as economic growth, right now our economy is doing great. I mean, things are booming, businesses are growing, they're hiring more and more people, and I feel like as part of the Board of Commissioners, with businesses growing right now is the time to go out and try to attract businesses to our area. With our industrial parks, I feel like through a little recruitment, we could easily attract the right companies, the right businesses, and bring those businesses to Harris County and help have another, tax base in the county, help generate some tax revenue.
Patrick?
Yeah, like Mr. Turner said, we have we have 2 industrial parks in Harris County. That's very appealing. But as far as the recruitment, I think the county, if elected, I would help or like to see us push to hire an economic development professional, somebody that can be full-time to go out and recruit businesses, because it's very competitive out there. And if we don't have somebody on top of it pretty regular, and somebody out there continuously finding and talking to people, we'll miss the boat on a lot of businesses. And that could help. The more business we bring in, more industry we bring, obviously is going to, take the burden off the homeowner so much. And, you've seen in, the last budget, we had a property tax increase. And I mean, no candidate, nobody here wants to see another property increase. So I think just hiring somebody to help recruit those people, and, will be a great asset to the county.
Okay. Stay right there for a moment. I just got another question, and that question is, can you tell us what the biggest challenge that you believe Harris County is facing now?
Right now, probably financially. We went to a commission meeting Tuesday night, and Joey Loudermilk has donated quite a bit of land and spent a lot of his own money to help start the development of a park in Ellerslie. And it's been 5 years, in the county, and had the resources, to help get that thing started and going. And Mr. Loudermilk expressed his frustration. So I think one of the biggest challenges is just to, really tighten down on the budget. See if there's anywhere the county can cut spending. I know that's easier said than done. You have to be in there to see that, to see what all the spending is. But it was a pretty healthy reserve. I got out of office, I think, 2010. It was a pretty healthy reserve. I don't want to misquote, but it was somewhere around 12 million, maybe a little more, a little less, and the reserve is nowhere near that right now. So probably finances is one of the biggest challenges in the county.
And same question to you, Andrew.
Trying to stay away from finances, I feel like another area that's really affecting Harris County right now is our internet service that we can get throughout the county. Without a great internet system, it's hard to keep businesses around if they can't have access to this internet. It's hard for people to work from home if they don't have a good internet service. And if we're trying to bring more business into these industrial parks, we need that internet service so those companies can run. Just this past week, Harris County at the high school, they had to shut down their internet because one of the elementary schools or the middle school, I'm not sure which one it was testing online, and just by them using so much internet at one school, we had to shut down the rest of the internet at some of the other schools. So I feel like that's one big area we need to look at and see what we can do with that.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to move on to District 2. Patrick Callaway and Andy Bocker, if you could come up, please. We're going to let a hand go first. Well, start with on the head. Oh, yeah. Here we go. All right, so we do have 3. Rob Grant. Yeah, go ahead if you would. Ann.
Okay, I'm Ann Bacher from District 2. That's basically the Pine Mountain area and surrounding that area. And I never dreamed about doing this, but let me tell you why I did it. I was in Publix, and one of the people that sits up there with the commissioner says, Ann, I want you to do me a favor. And I said, well, okay, what? He said, I want you to run for county commissioner. And I said, you've got to be kidding. So I just walked away. I went around another area. He was standing there again. He said, no, I mean now. I just talked to your husband. Everything's fine. You can run. 4 times. Finally, after the 4th time, I said, okay. So he said, I want to ask you this question. I'm going to tell you why you got to run. How many years you've been sitting there at our meetings? I would sit out here in the audience. I said 15 times. 15 years I've been sitting out here. And the reason for that is my husband's an Army officer, and then became a Methodist minister. We came to Hamilton, served 6 years in Hamilton. Both my children graduated from Harris County High School. And so while I was there, they needed firemen. And I said, all the men would go working in Columbus and LaGrange. In those days, the women joined the fire department. We drove fire trucks, and I'm a certified fireman, retired, thank goodness. And so I never dreamed we'd come back to Hamilton. We bought some land, put a log cabin on it, moved to Hamilton, and been there until my husband's health changed, and we had to move to Pine Mountain where there were no stairs. But while I was in Hamilton, I served on Hamilton Planning and Zoning. I served 2 terms in City Council. And when I was in City Council, I said, I needed to go to the commissioners to find out how this all relates. Well, I started going, and it was a lot of fun. We would have a group of people sitting up there in front of the commissioners. Now, Jim Woods was in this group. He got this training to be a commissioner with us. And I don't know if any of y'all remember Harry Franklin. Harry Franklin, we look at Harry Franklin and we say, Harry, why did they do that? And it was great. He would tell us why we did it and everything. And we begged him to come back to Harris County when they cut down the size of the paper. But he died a year after that, and he was such an asset. But anyhow, this is the reason I'm doing this. And one of my big projects was the comprehensive plan, which we're going to be working on. This is required by the state. And everyone will be participating, fire departments, EMS, every department. This is required. We must do it. It will take us about 6 months to do it. And then the county commissioners, which the new ones will be on, will be approving this. And we got to live by this. And if you want to know anything about the county, take a quick look at this, and you'll be surprised. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark, and everyone else who put this on and for y'all's brief attention. My name is Patrick Callaway, and I'm also running for District 2. And I also want to thank my wife and family, friends, neighbors for the support tonight and all of you. But I grew up in Harris County and have lived in Catala, Fortson, Pine Mountain, currently in Hamilton, at the backwaters. So I've been around the county and know it well, and I'm in love with Harris County. So after finishing school and working almost 10 years in the investment and finance business
I relocated back up to Harris County and plan to be here for life. So I have a very deep vested interest in seeing the things we all love about Harris County stay the way, for the reasons we love Harris County to stay, supposed to stay at least. So there's plenty of things that could be worked on. Andrew mentioned the internet, which I think is important to a lot of folks, from things like telemedicine to keeping up with their grandkids to the school system, or bringing in new businesses. That's essential and something the county commissioners need to get very active on, in my opinion. But, I think keeping property taxes low is one of the reasons people move to Harris County, and important. And there was a very informative meeting last night for this planning process, where the different department heads gave us a lot of good information. But I think there's room to tighten up the budget, as was mentioned by Patrick. So a lot of things that can be talked about and addressed, but time is limited. So I ask for your vote, and just would like the opportunity to serve District 2 and neighbors and friends in Harris County. Thanks.
Thank you, Pat. Rob Grant.
I'm Rob Grant, otherwise known as Coach Grant. My family's been in this county since somewhere in the mid-1800s. My grandmother's house is on the same spot of land as the third house. They tore one down, built another, tore that one down, built another. We've been here. My roots go deep. I'm probably kin to some of you in this room, and you may not even know. I had to go to Alabama to get my wife just to make sure that I didn't marry her.
Wow.
It's true. I teach at the high school. I coach at the high school. I coached one of our candidates. I've been here just like y'all. I love this place. Always have. My 3 children have gone through the school system here. My wife teaches at the elementary school. I have been the president of the Hamilton Youth Sports Association. I have been the treasurer and the vice president of the Harris County Little League. I belong to 2 Masonic lodges, one in Hamilton, one in Pine Mountain. I participate in Relay for Life as long as I can tell. I'm the current chairman of the Harris County Recreation Board. Basically, that tells you that when somebody comes and says, hey, Coach Grant, will you come help us? I say yes. I don't know how to say no. I'm running to be the commissioner for District 2 for the simple fact is that I love this county and I think I can help. I am very passionate about this county. I'm very passionate about the people of this county. The people of this county are my people. I am their people. We are together in everything that we're trying to do for this county. So I got to thinking about it and said, you know what? Where else can I go help? I help at the school, I help in the communities, I help everywhere else. Why not go help for the county? Go help at the commission. 16 years ago I ran and I lost by 36 votes. Because back then, just like now, I thought I could help and bring a fresh perspective to the county. Someone who actually loves the place and will do anything they can for the place. That's what we're all up here trying to do. We think we can do something that other people can't do. I don't think I can do something other people can't do. I just think I can bring something to do that only I can do, which is give the best of me to Harris County. I have been doing that now for 53, about to be 54 years. And I will continue to give the best of me to Harris County. If I'm elected to commissioner for District 2, understand the fact that I will give you everything I have to be your commissioner. Because I know no other way to do it, except just be me. And understand, when I go to places with my ball teams, and I just walked off the soccer field, everybody says, where's Harris County? Oh, I tell them real quick where we are, and I'll tell them, you'll remember the black and the gold, because after we get done beating you, you'll know where we are, and you'll know who we are. Thank you very much.
Can I just say one thing, because I'll be in big trouble if I don't. I am a veteran, and if I'm saying in the VFW, and don't mention that, I will be I'm a retired Air Force, and my husband's Army. And then later, after we could not go together because they wouldn't let us the 2 services, I joined the Army Reserve. So I'm an Air Force and Army veteran.
Yes, ma'am. Coach Grant, we're going to let each one of you answer this question. The question is, with potential growth and an infrastructure that's small, would you want to share the Harris County tax base with Columbus to obtain a large company or companies?
Well, first of all, I like to say, I'm not a veteran, but I was born on an Air Force base. My dad was in the Air Force Base. So, and then the Air Force Base now is the Miller Brewing Company in Albany, Georgia. It wasn't our Air Force Base. I think my son is a police officer, and I understand about law enforcement. My younger daughter is becoming a lawyer, so I know we need these types of infrastructure, and we need our firefighters. I've tried to help in that instance. I would think at that point, whatever we could do to try to help our tax base to get our infrastructure better for the people of Harris County, that's what we need to do. Now, personally, I don't want to offend anybody, but I am a Harris County person. I'm very loyal to Harris County. So whatever we can do in Harris County, without having to go out to another county to come help us, you know, I'd like to see us do that. But sometimes, you know what? You got to have a little help. But I think, personally, in Harris County, that we're able to do it ourselves. We are good people. We know how to manage our money. May not have done it well lately, but we know how to do it. We don't need somebody to come tell us what to do about this. You know, we might want to go out and get some ideas from other people, but what we need to do is we need to strengthen our infrastructure, and we need to strengthen everything as Harris County, what Harris County needs, not what everybody else needs. It's about what we need. And I may have answered your question, and I may not have, because as I said, I'm a teacher and a coach, and I kind of threw myself off when I told y'all I was born on an Air Force base.
Thank you, Mr. Gray. We're going to go in reverse order, so Mr. Callaway. Same question. I'll tell you the question again. The question is, with potential growth in an infrastructure that's small, would you want to share the Harris County tax base with Columbus to obtain a large company or companies?
That's a really good question, and I think that's probably impossible to answer without seeing the circumstances, the nature of the business, the industry it's in. I mean,
speak up if you would.
Sorry, that's a great question, and I think it's very difficult to answer on the spot without more specifics, like the nature of the company. Is it a distribution center? Is it something that might generate tourism? How heavy would the impact be on the county's infrastructure? Generally agree with his coach's comments that Harris County needs to be independent, because I just don't like the idea of being wrapped up into Columbus's finances and financial dysfunction. But I mean, the short answer is we have to look at the facts and talk to the people in my district and in Harris County and get their input and make the smartest decision for the county on circumstances.
Thank you. Mrs. Butler. You need me to repeat the question?
No, I know. Thank you. We already have help from Columbus Regional Valley. We have help from the state. We'll take any help we can get. And these kind of questions can probably go to Harry Lang, our chairman, who's been working tirelessly to get this type of growth up in the top part of our county to increase our tax base.
Thank you, ma'am. Okay, we have a couple of specific questions for specific candidates. So, Ann, if you would just stay up there. Let me take a look at it first. Are you a proponent of limited government is the first part of the question. And the second part is, what views do you have that qualify you as a Republican?
I knew that question was going to be asked because when my husband retired, and he was an Army officer, and when he was a preacher, you had to keep your mouth shut and just smile at everybody and not say how you wanted to vote. So when he retired, I said, I want to vote, and I want to know who I'm going to vote for. I went to Republican meetings and Democratic meetings. I still, to this day, watch TV. I try to see all the candidates, and I don't vote a straight ticket until I see they're the proper people that I would vote for. And I've already watched the last one we had here was great. And that's one reason I would go with the Republican candidates, because of what I saw at your last one of these.
Well, we're certainly trying to convert all that we can, that's for sure. Let me, the limited government part of the question.
I think that pertains to what your county is. A lot of people, the counties with no money, need more government to help them. we're doing very well. We're sort of rated one of the top counties in the state. And sometimes we can't get grants because we're considered a wealthy county. But that's not always true. That hurts us in some areas.
Thank you. And let's see, I've got another specific question and another general question. So, Coach Grant, Mr. Grant, the specific question is to you as soon as I find it. There we go. The job of a county commissioner takes a lot of time and training to do it well. Will you be able to commit the time to this job serving District 2 with all of the school and coaching responsibilities you have?
I feel that I can. I've committed time to showing up for Harris County Recreation Board meetings for the last 14 years. I served on the Little League Board. I feel like I can devote the time to do whatever I need to do. Now, if I felt like that my coaching was getting in the way of me serving the people of this county, well, I've been teaching and coaching for 30 years, since 1988. I've accomplished a lot in coaching, and I'm very satisfied in my resume as a coach. I can put that to the side to serve the people of Harris County. And teaching, I'm going to have to teach a little bit longer. I can't get rid of the teaching because I got 3 grandchildren, and somehow or another I got to buy gifts and stuff for them. You know, hey, I try to tell y'all, I just be honest. But I don't think it would affect me, because once I commit to something, I commit to it. If you don't believe me, you ask my girls that when I just walked off that soccer field today, and we're hosting the state playoffs next Tuesday.
All right, good. Here's a question, and we'll let Ms. Bacher start this time. And this is going to go to all. Would you be open to a casino in Harris County?
Absolutely not. Casinos are addictive.
That's a good answer. I mean, it doesn't have to be long to be a good answer.
That's interesting. Although it would produce a lot of revenue for Harris County, I don't think that's something that I personally would sign off on. Obviously, would want to represent the district and get a consensus. But
speak up some. I know some people.
Sorry, I said no is a short answer. You know, unlimited details and facts. No.
Let me clarify. When I say something's a good answer, it's because it's a direct answer and a short answer. Don't take it as that I'm endorsing the candidate's answer, okay? But, Coach, Coach Grant, do you have anything else to add to that?
I will tell y'all just point blank, if I ever probably voted for a casino, my grandmother would come out the grave and get me. So I would have to say that.
All right.
Ben.
If you would, come back and submit a written question.
Well, it's just a little comment on that, very brief.
Okay.
We just did a project to send soccer uniforms from Pacelli to an Indian reservation in South Dakota that has a casino, and the taxing is different there. But what ends up going to the individual tribal members is 29 cents a year.
Sir. Let me see if we've got any more. I think that might be it. Got too many questions here.
Ask him how many meetings he's attended, Cavalier County. Jim,
I am going to,
how many?
I think that's all that we have for these 3 candidates right now. We'll come back if we have some time with a closing and you can sum up. So please give them a hand. Okay, now we have District 3. So we're going to have Richard Marion and Becky Langston. And we're going to let Miss Langston go first. And let me say this about Richard Marion. I know he's been to the dentist, so he's had a tooth. Go ahead.
First, let me apologize first for my voice. I have a paralyzed vocal cord, and I cannot project that well. So if you can't hear me, just raise your hand, and I'll try to project. I am Becky Langston. I'm the District 3 Commissioner currently and have been for 2 terms. And some of you know me, some of you don't know me, and some of you know what you've heard about me. I retired from Fort Benning after 30 years as the Chief of Protocol. I retired from Synovus after almost 10 years as the Assistant to the Chief Financial Officer. I have served on the Board of Directors of Ronald McDonald House. I am currently on the Board of Directors for the Valley Rescue Mission and am missing a board meeting tonight. I also have served with the American Cancer Society as their director for the Reach to Recovery program for 5 counties. And I currently serve as the Board of Commissioners liaison to the Rec Board. I am a champion of the taxpayer. I am also a champion of our public safety employees, our county employees, and the best ideas for Harris County. I voted against the tax increase of 2017. I recommended and our board approved a salary study for our county employees to bring them up to a standard wage. I supported new equipment for EMS, another deputy on the road for the Sheriff's Department, and I also recommended $2.7 million in the current SPLOST for new apparatus for our firefighters. In District 3, in my current term, we have had 5 roads resurfaced, and we have another road which is scheduled for paving in the next few months. We've heard a lot about growth, Monday night and tonight. My opinion on the growth is that we must find alternate sources of tax revenue to keep the tax burden off of the homeowners. We have a great many senior citizens in this county who could be taxed out of the county and forced to leave if we cannot find alternate means of tax revenue. I'm a hands-on working commissioner, and I pride myself on being available 24/7, 365, and I would appreciate your vote in the Republican primary. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for having this. I want to keep it short and sweet. I'm Richard Marion. I've been living in the county, this wonderful county, for at least 8 years. I've been on the volunteer fire department in Catala for 6 years, serving our county. I work out of Pratt Whitney. I've been there for 24 years, so I'm grounded here. I'm not ever planning on moving. We purchased our last and final home, and this is where it's at. Recently, as of last night, went to Planning and Zone Committee and found out some very shocking facts about the new development that we're doing and just approved of. That, you know, Ms. Langston says we don't want to increase taxes because yes, we do have an older tax base here. We don't want to tax anybody out of this county, and we don't want to become Columbus and have the, you know, heightened tax rates. If the development that is been proposed is going to, every year is going to be a negative $140,000 to just our budget, and that's if one child goes to every one of the new 80 homes that are being developed of just the recent development. We're not including any other developments because the school board stated last night it costs $9,500 to send one child to school, and half of that is subsidized by the state. So according to the school board official, it takes us $650,000 home taxes just to pay for one child to go to school. So imagine where everybody knows what their taxes are now. Imagine where's the extra coming from. The extra is coming from people that don't have children, but it takes to come just offset the $140,000. Takes $300,000 homes just to offset that cost every year that's going into our thing. We need to bring in more commercial development, not commercial development, but commercial property, you know, mom and pop shops, you know, small developments that businesses that it's gonna be a direct impact to our bottom line that's gonna help us out. Because building more and more homes and bringing more and more children in is just gonna mandatorily make the board increase our rates. Thank you.
Ms. Langston, I'm going to start you with the first question. What is your position on PUD? I think it's planned unit developments and residential development, I believe.
I think that we have to look at every development individually. There is a PUD is a planned unit development, which does allow some commercial. Right now, we only have one that, and correct me if I'm wrong, we only have one in the county, and that's north of Hamilton, and there are no commercial developments in that subdivision. But I think that it needs to be done on a case-by-case basis. I don't think anybody can stand here and say, this is the way I feel. On any type of development, any type of issue, I think that you have to have all the facts, you have to look at the proposed plans, you have to hear from the planning commission, and that's the way I feel about it. I don't think that I can stand here and say I am for or I am against.
And I guess the second part of that is the residential development in general, I suppose.
Okay. The residential development. 8 years ago, when I first ran for commissioner, in my very first political forum, I made the statement that in order to bring commercial and retail businesses, which we do need more of, to this county, you must have rooftops. I got pounded. We don't need rooftops. If I am a business owner and I want to locate in Harris County, I am not going to open my business and hope they will come. And we have proof of that. We have had businesses that would like to locate here, but they will not locate because they are in business, to make dollars, and they must have the support of the rooftops with those families in those rooftops.
Same question to you, Mr. Mayor.
Repeat it.
It says, what is your position on PUD, planned unit development, and what is your position on residential growth?
All right, the PUD, planned unit development, I agree with Ms. Langston. You have to look on a case-by-case basis. I think a lot of our zoning and planning and our code enforcement needs to rewrite a lot of our codes here to make sure that, we don't have a development and then it's just left to just deteriorate, because everybody knows they like to drive up and down the roads, see nice trees, developments. Nobody wants to see something that's not maintained and it's just, allowed to go south. What was the next part of the question?
Residential development in general.
Well, as I was stating before, the residential development, I understand we need to broaden our tax base, but I really think that it needs to be, commercial, manufacturing. I mean, we spend, if anybody has looked at the recent budgets, the last couple of years even, that we have spent a lot of money on this industrial park. We need to, I think one of the District 2 commissioners stated, we need to go out and, either hire somebody full-time to go out and try to bring business in here, because that's a positive impact on our bottom line, not a negative impact. We start popping up 300-400 homes, and these homes aren't developed for older people because they're 2 stories. They're designed for families. And as I stated before, we start putting that tax for schools on us, the tax base is going to have to go up, which will make Harris County no longer, make it no longer, people won't want to move here. People move here low taxes, they want low taxes, they want country living, you know, and we start popping up all these houses, we're gonna have a millage rate just like Columbus, just like Atlanta. And everybody that's on fixed income, just like Ms. Langston said, will be taxed out of the county.
Got it. Just stay there for a minute. Here's the next question. With population increasing and demand for public safety increasing, how do you plan to accommodate that need? Volunteer fire departments are facing older members nearing retirement, and there are a few younger members.
I personally know about this one. Our active fire department is actually trying to recruit more and more younger members because, yes, we are having older members and they are retiring, so our head count is slowly dropping, so therefore, you know, while everybody's at work during the daytime, you may not get a firefighter to come to your house and put it out. We have to mutual aid from multiple different areas. But if I'm elected commissioner, I will look at, you know, any way we can do to help get people, you know, that's not really a commissioner job to help get volunteers to the fire department, but, you know, apparatuses, good equipment, you know, the splosh, you know, where I guess he left already, but the splosh money does help. Splosh money helps pay for a lot of things in this county, so I'm personally for it, but our EMS, definitely, you know, meeting last night, our EMS, we have 4 ambulances in this county. You may have a response time 4 or 5 minutes, 6 minutes, 10 minutes. You know, if somebody has a heart attack, that could be the difference between life and death. You know, if we include in the budget, let's put another ambulance out there. We already have a fire station that's ready to take another ambulance. That would take a lot of burden off, reduce response time. As for the police department or sheriff's department, Jolly said last night that we're already about 1 deputy short, and everybody, you know, everybody loves coming home to a safe house, knowing that, you know, if something wrong goes down, you can call the sheriff's department and they will respond.
Thank you. Becky, same question. You want me to repeat it?
If you would, please.
Be glad to. With the population increasing and demand for public safety increasing, how do you plan to accommodate that need? Volunteer fire departments are facing older members nearing retirement, and there are a few younger members.
The SPLOST does fund a lot of our services for our sheriffs, our public safety, our EMS, our firefighters. I think that our public safety, our sheriff's department, is first and foremost when we try to put together our budget, which we'll begin doing in May. As far as the firefighters, and I thank you for your service, by the way, because we couldn't do it without you. Mr. Marion is correct. It's basically up to the recruitment of firefighters. It's up to our volunteer fire departments. However, I have worked extremely closely with our fire departments. I attend I think I've missed 2 meetings in 7.5 years. I attend every meeting of the fire chiefs. And we have worked together on a lot of items that we've been able to provide for our firefighters. And recruitment is a problem. There are a lot of older firefighters, and we do need younger folks. And if you know any, please have them get in touch with our county manager, because we can certainly use them.
Thank you, Ms. Langston. And Becky, I know you have been struggling with your
That's
throat.
okay, I'll keep trying until I don't.
We've got 2 more, so maybe 3.
As a friend of mine said, it doesn't stop me from talking. So.
District 3, another question is, what are your qualifications for the position of county commissioner? And I'm going to add on to that you have not already told us about.
Well, I've served for almost 8 years as a commissioner. I attend every county meeting. That includes rec board, planning commission meeting. I may have missed 2 in the 7.5 years I've been a commissioner. I go to the Board of Zoning Adjustments meeting every month. I go to the fire chief's meeting every month, and I have 1 week in the month that I do not have a county meeting. That is my only free week, and you can ask my family how much time I spend on county business.
Yes, ma'am. All right, let me ask you this. Would you be open to a casino in Harris County?
Would I be open
To
to
a casino? Would you be
Well,
open to one?
I really haven't thought about it because we can't have casinos in Georgia, but my answer would be no.
Thank you, ma'am. Same question.
I guess my only qualification, my qualification would be, I'm a resident, I'm a firefighter, I listen to people, and I have common sense. I mean, there isn't much more than that.
All right. And stay there, last question. Is paying for firefighters a possibility? Somebody followed up with that question.
I don't know if our county could actually afford to put paid fire departments in all 10 of the stations because of just the economic cost that it would cost us. We've had this discussion at our own fire department. If the Grove gets built, that we might have to go to a paid fire department, and we really don't think it would be in our tax base to be able to support that.
Okay. Thank you. Ms. Langston.
And I think the answer to that is no, not at this time. And it's finances. It's finances. Now, I will say that I have supported in the past a small incentive for our volunteer firefighters. And we have talked about that. The Board of Commissioners has. You know, you could either give them a gas card to help on their gas, something, maybe a tax break. We have discussed that, and I would like to see that happen. But as of this time, no.
Mr. Marion, you do have a direct question. But before that, I don't think I'll let you answer what are your qualifications for county commissioner. Did I? Okay. I'm getting tired, folks, okay? If you would answer this question for us. It says several of your supporters have been told that you will get Whitesville Road paved. Is that really feasible, or wouldn't homeowners lose land and object?
Well, that was not ever on my agenda for running, but the finances would have to be looked at. Homeowners, depending on how it's looked at, homeowners wouldn't lose land. You know, people are talking about condemning people's homes, and I think people are going way far to the right on that one. But I never planned on paving Whitesville Road. I'm happy with the way it is now. Yes, I know it's a large financial burden, but as our county grows, we're gonna have to start looking at continued avenues into Harris County, because that is a throughput into Harris County. And if any of y'all have lived over there or travel over there or anything like that, when we had that 18-wheeler flip over on the highway, y'all will know, you know, we need more avenues out in case something happens.
Thank you, sir. And I'm going to do this. If anybody else wants to add anything during your closings or respond to any other questions, you can do that, meaning that I'm not going to ask you that question. But since you all are already up there, we're going to open the floor to a 1-minute closing for everybody, since we're getting a little bit late. And I'll let ladies go first.
As I said earlier, I'm a 24/7, 365 commissioner. And I would ask for your vote in the Republican primary. Early voting begins April the 30th, ends May the 18th. The polling date is May the 22nd. The only thing I want to say, and I want to make sure that I get this out there, I pulled the figures today back to 1997 on permits for single-family homes in Harris County. From 1997 to 2007 was the peak growth time for Harris County. In 2005, we had 449 permits pulled for single-family homes. From 2008 through 2017, our numbers were in the hundreds and even below 100. 88, 93, 89. Our numbers for last year were 196 permits. So the last 10 years, from 2008 through 2017, has not been your growth period. It was the 10 years prior. And I just wanted to make sure that I got that out there.
Thank you, ma'am. Aaron?
We'll make it short and sweet. Thank y'all for coming out. I'm ready to go home.
All right, before I get the other candidates up, I'm going to start with District 2 so you guys can start moving this way if you want to. I do want to recognize Christopher Jennings. He came in. He's in the race with Vance Smith. And Philip Singleton's here, I think, back there. He is running for Congress in the 3rd district. I believe that's Drew Ferguson's district. So, and when we conclude tonight, you'll have an opportunity to talk to these candidates. So hang around a little while and do that if you want to. District 2 candidates. And we're going to go again with ladies first.
Ladies first, okay. There again, I forgot one very important thing when I was working with Hamilton. My job was to get the Hamilton Fire Station built, look at all the bids, do everything. We bid it out. We could not afford it. We found out that what you do is you go to your fire chiefs and say, we need help. They said, oh, okay, go to Antioch. Antioch gave us the plans. Antioch said, what can we do to help? They gave us an engineer. Our guys got busy. We built it. And with the county adding the burn center in the back, this whole complex, it probably worth about $1 million.
When I was finishing up, I heard a good question by the young lady right here asking, I think the question she was getting at is how many meetings have I been to, or what's my qualifications or experience to be a good commissioner. And I think uniquely working for Merrill Lynch and Morgan Stanley, doing retirement planning, understanding how retirement plans and pension benefits and costs work, it's a missing skill set. I've looked at the budget, I've read all 130-something pages of it. That's kind of interesting to me, but my background in finance and my passion for it, as well as my passion for Harris County, will allow me to really drill down into the inefficiencies. And I'm not going to bore you all with all of them, but just in a quick scan, it was evident that there's money being wasted, and important dollars that could be spent on fire departments and the other areas of need. So please vote for me and allow me to serve Harris County.
Thank you, Mr. Callaway.
Well, as y'all can tell, I'm not a politician. I speak from my head, I speak from my heart. Harris County made me what I am, good, bad, or whatever, but I'm proud of what Harris County made me. I wouldn't be the person I am without Harris County. I wouldn't be running for commissioner if I didn't believe in my heart that I could do a good job and that I could help Harris County and help the people of Harris County. I know no other way to tell you that. I know no other way to try to convince you. I'll talk to you, I'll do whatever I need to do, but understand, I will be the best me I can be, and the best me I can be is the best for Harris County. Thank you.
Thank you. Give a hand to these candidates. And District 1. Mr. Zerner, Mr. Worthing. Andrew, since you went last start, I guess we'll let you go first.
All right. For those of you who do or don't know me, just to let you know, I'm a very hard worker. Anything I do, I'm going to give it 100%. I give my family 100%. I give my business 100%. And I would love to give 100% commitment to being a county commissioner. The reason I'm running it is just for my love of Harris County. And I would love to be able to help serve Harris County as a commissioner, and I would like to ask you for your support and for your vote for that opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm running for commissioner also, but I do love this county. I've got a vested interest in this county, and I want to be a voice for the citizens in District 1. I want to be somebody they can call anytime, day or night, and be able to reach out and help them in any way I can as far as any part of this county. But I would appreciate your vote on May 22nd, or early vote.
Thank you. And give a hand for all of these fine people. It's been a fairly long evening, so I'd invite everybody to our next meeting in May, and we're adjourned. Thank you.